It is Sunday, October the 29th, 2023, 7:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A big shout out and happy birthday to my big brother, Neil. Neil is, how old are you today, Neil? I think you're 53. Happy birthday, Neil, the man who got me into Halloween, the man responsible. Let's do it again! Boom, jinga, bow, wow, 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 wow. Yeah, my brother Neil is the big 53 today. He's the one, Halloween's his favorite horror movie of all time. He's the one that got me into Halloween in the early 1980s when I was like 4 or 5. And so big happy birthday to my brother Neil. And yeah, it is Sunday, like I said, Sunday, October the 29th, 2023, 7:06 p.m. now. Last time. Boom, bow, wow. And tonight, on episode 233 of McRae Live, I decided to do this impromptu. We're just going to watch the original Halloween from 1978. I know. I mean, what is there to say? What is there to... I mean, we could just have this on autopilot and be, twiddling our thumbs and building a roof in the background and still know what's going on. Nonetheless, I'm looking forward to doing this. Why not? Why not do it? And one of the reasons is because although Tuesday is Halloween, and I feel like I'm a little low on the microphone. Do I sound a little low? I feel like I sound a little low. Let me just boost myself up here a little bit. I don't know why. Hello. Why do I sound so low? Do I sound low? Does that sound better? Does that sound better? Hello. Does that sound better? I don't know why I'm sounding a little low. I've boosted the microphone up here. Does that sound better than it did when the stream first began? Let me know. Let me know if that sounds better than when the stream first began. Ordinarily, I don't have to touch anything, but for whatever reason, you sound good to me. All right. That's good. It's actually loud. Oh, okay. Sounds better, says Colin Murdy. Okay. Actually, let me just do a double thing here. Let me hear myself. No, that's better. Yeah, no, that's better. It's louder than it was at the beginning of the stream, yes. But for whatever reason, at the beginning of the stream, I noticed that my meters were quite low. And I was like, oh, it's kind of weird. Anyway, here we are. Who knows? It's OBS and the internet and technology. So, yeah, I decided to watch the original Halloween tonight. Why not? It's 90 minutes. Like I said, we can watch this thing on autopilot. This isn't necessarily thank you, Darren. Appreciate that. Sounds the same to me, Darren. Okay, sounds the same. All right, sounds the same. Well, okay. Well, as long as I don't sound too low or anything like that. I was going to say that, so at some point throughout the stream, maybe it might like kick in and maybe I'll get too loud or something. I don't know. So I'll have to keep watching that. But I was going to say that, yeah, so Halloween is Tuesday and this is a pretty, it's a potentially significant week for us here with Billy and everything going on. And there's just a lot going on. And so although myself and Tony Michael have tentatively scheduled a episode of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit on Halloween night, we are planning, not doing a watch along, but we're planning on watching all the Halloween trailers from Halloween 1 all the way to Halloween Ends. And I thought that'd be kind of fun. It's different. It was Tony's idea. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Why not? That's different. It's fun. That should be happening Halloween night. However, because of everything that's going on right now, there's always a possibility that I may not be able to do it that night. So I thought, you know what? It's Sunday. I have a little bit of time now. Let's jump on now and do it and kind of get this out of the way. And do you know what I mean? So we have a little something with Halloween going on, because I don't know what my week is going to be like here. I have no idea. So, yeah, so that's why I'm doing it. Episode 233 of McRae Live. Yeah, we're going to watch the original Halloween, not the TV cut, the original theatrical cut. I am paused literally just like a second or two before you hear the Halloween theme. You know how there's the black screen, there's a couple of beats, and then the theme kicks in? Well, I'm in that moment of couple of beats before the theme kicking in. So that's where I'm paused. So if you want to watch along with me, you don't have to, of course. Like I said, we know this movie like the back of our hand anyway. But if you want to watch along with me, feel free to line that up. To line yourself up at that moment. Like I said, a few beats, few seconds before the theme kicks in. And yeah, I'll give some people some time to do that. And like I said, this version of the Halloween theme is my favorite. This is the version that does not have the drum beat, you know, the kick drum, you know, doesn't have that. It's the only spot you ever hear it. I'll have to check the original Halloween theme I have on CD. But I've never heard it without the kick drum when you buy it, like when you buy a soundtrack. Whether it's vinyl or CD, when I hear it, it's always got that kick drum in there. And I much prefer it without. I just think, but it's very difficult to find the Halloween theme anywhere now without it, unless you're watching the movie. So I much prefer it without it, personally, but that's just me. Frank Riker's here. Robert Fitoff is here. And thank you, Rob. Dave, if all goes well with the Billy preparations, how many days will the shoot be? It'll be about a 7-day shoot. 6 days at the main location and 1 day back in Toronto. So yeah, nice to see everybody here rolling on in. Hopefully you'll watch along with me. If not, you don't have to, of course. And like I said, feel free to send in super chats or questions or member chats or super stickers or whatever you want. If you want your question guaranteed an answer, that's one way to do it, of course, is to send in the super chat, of course, because obviously I'm going to answer that, and I'm going to see it, out of the peripheral. But yeah, I want this to just be laid back. This isn't a director's commentary. This isn't analytical. We're not going to dive into the nitty gritty. I mean, I might, in certain things, but I don't want this to be like, so serious. Why so serious? We're just going to have fun for the next 90 minutes or so and just watch the movie and chill and just talk some Halloween, right? That's what we're going to do. So let's jump right into it. All right. Like I said, I'm paused where I'm paused, and let me bring up the movie here, and let's get this thing going. Okay, here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the theme is now playing. Yes, Compass International Pictures release. Mustafa Akkad presents. There's the pumpkin baby. Donald Pleasance in John Carpenter's Halloween. A Deborah Hill production. I asked Sean Clark if Deborah Hill were alive today, do you think she would be at these conventions? And he said, yeah, I do. I think she would too. Nancy Loomis, of course, known as Nancy Keys now, as Annie. PJ Souls as Linda. Charles Cyphers, good old Chuck. The internet in Toronto? No, Charles, just the internet. It's everywhere. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Featuring Kyle Richards and Brian Andrews, which it's a screenplay by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. Director of photography, Dean Cundy. Can you imagine having that voice throughout the opening credits? Film editors, Tommy Wallace. Music by John Carpenter. That'd be fucking annoying. Production designer, Tommy Wallace. So we're slowly zooming up on the eye Executive producer, Erwin Yablans. I know that people refer to Mustafa Akkad as the godfather of Halloween, the man that can, and listen, from a certain perspective, that is true. He is the man that kept it going, for better or worse. Certainly, he kept it going. And if it wasn't for Mustafa Akkad, you wouldn't have Halloween 4, 5, 6, H2O, Resurrection, Rob Zombie's. Well, no, he died before Rob Zombie's. But Malik Akkad, of course, and all that. And I get all that. You're probably right. Black cats and goblins on Halloween night. Here we are, the opening POV shot on the Panaglide. But I was just going to say, and I've said this before, in my mind, the true godfather of Halloween, when we're talking about the inception of Halloween, the creator of Halloween, it's Erwin Yablans. I mean, he came up with the idea of wanting to do a low-budget horror movie in the vein of Hitchcock. He was the one that approached John Carpenter because of Assault on Precinct 13. Erwin Yablans is the one that came up with the idea to make it about babysitters because it was very current and you know, commercially viable because of young girls babysitting at that time. Erwin Yablans is the one that came up with the idea to call it Halloween, to set it on Halloween. He came up with the idea sort of, you know, for the poster art, right? Kind of in that direction. I mean, you know, I know there's some, I don't know, call it bad blood, but there's, you know, a little bit of tension blood between the Carpenters and the Yablans and the Curtises, of course, in the early 80s. But it's true. Mustafa Akkad was there for the financing, absolutely. But the inception, the idea is Erwin Yablans. And without Erwin Yablans, you may not have a Halloween. It's so great. Like it still holds up today. And a big part of that reason is because of the music, right? I mean, the music's absolutely fantastic. I didn't miss any super chats, did I, while I was going off on my theatrics? Or I don't think I did. No. Okay, good. Just want to make sure. Haven't missed anything. What's going on? Davey Deathray says, ladies in the chat, do you think Judith is calling this guy back if little Mikey doesn't cut her life short? Ooh, I think so. I think you will. Ba 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 boom. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew Stevens says, if you are not a member yet, well, come on by and have the latest icons available. Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate that, Andrew. Yeah, if you want to become a member here on the channel, by all means, feel free, Andrew, to pop the link into the chat. Become a member here on the channel for access to exclusive badges, emojis, exclusive shows that we do as well. So it's fun. Walking up the stairs. Bloody hell. So far, this has all been one shot. This has all been one shot. Now, where the first cut happens is right here, when Deborah Hill's arm reaches in, of course, brings the mask up to the camera. This is an optical effect now, so it's something they would have done in post for sure. Over the film strip, I would imagine, because obviously this is before digital editing. I don't know exactly how they would have done it, or maybe they had something over the camera. It's possible, but anyway, there was a cut there. Michael. Yeah, he's looking at himself. Yeah, look at that arm. Look at that arm, bitch. Shout out to why am I drawing a blank on Judith Myers? Why am I have so much going on in my life right now. Why am I drawing a blank on the actress who played Judith Myers? I know we've talked. She's been on the channel. We've talked outside the channel. I'm drawing a blank. Major fart. It's just the stress, guys. Here, Michael. I think Darren is right. I think that's John Carpenter's voice. Michael? I think you're right. Of course, here's the cinematic tableau, and I understand why people are like, that doesn't make any sense because the mother puts the hands in her pocket, but that's what this is. I talked about it, and when I went to the Halloween 40th anniversary convention, I talked to Dean Cundy about it, and he confirmed it for us. So that's what this is. It's just pretend the mother didn't put her hands in her pocket, and it's just a still frame. It's just a still frame. Sandy Johnson, thank you, Colin. It's a stressful time. When this is all in the rearview mirror, you'll understand why. Anyway, so yeah, so it's a cinematic tableau, and you know, it's good, works. We jump 15 years in the future. I saw somebody the other day refer to the opening of this movie in 1963 as a flashback. Somebody, was it a DM somebody said me something about, and they referred to it as a flashback. That's incorrect. The opening of this movie isn't a flashback. The opening of this movie is what it is. It's real time 1963. And then once the events of what we're supposed to see in 1963 play out, we then jump 15 years into the future. So we're not starting in 1978 and then jumping back to 63, which would be a flashback. So no, it's real time as is, and then we jump into the future.
You haven't anything to worry about. He hasn't spoken a word since I pulled down my pants and did a jig.
Frank Riker sends in a super chat. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that. Sends in $5. Says, Dave, every time Michael comes on screen, you should tell us what he's thinking. Funny inner monologue. Yeah, I might. Every time? I don't know if I'll be able to remember that. Loomis is high here. Yeah, he just snorted about 8 lines of cocaine before he got in the car.
Thousand. That's the idea.
He'll barely be able to sit up, Doctor.
That's the idea.
Is it?
Oh, yes. I'm looking at the rabbit and red matchbook with intensity, so I remember it later on when I see it outside of the Phillips truck. Never.
Louis Alberto says, hi, Dave. Do you think a remake of The Burning or a controversial one like Sleepaway Camp would work well today if A24 Studios were behind it? A24 tends to be a little more cerebral. You'd have to reinvent what The Burning and Sleepaway Camp is. Sleepaway Camp and The Burning isn't really A24 style, unless they had an idea to sort of reinvent it and make it a little more cerebral. I think you're more likely to see, I'm not saying they have any interest in it, but I'm saying I think you're more likely to see a Blumhouse do a Burning or Sleepaway Camp. And even then, I don't think you're likely to see a remake of The Burning. Darren loves it from The Slaughtered Lamb, but in an overall sense, it's not a movie that's going to make a lot of money. So it would probably go to streaming if it was remade or whatever. It's my opinion, but.
Oh, that's right. Get it on, damn it. Come on now.
Come on. Here comes the wrench. Pay close attention to the hand, to Nick Castle's hand. And you'll see the wrench. There's the wrench in the hand. Smashes it. There's almost buck naked Nick Castle getting into the station wagon and taking off. I'm pretty sure that's him.
Are you all right?
Yes,
He's gone from here. The evil is gone. I gotta fucking fuck out. I just snorted 8 lines of coke. I got it.
You got what, Doctor?
I don't know. I have no idea.
No idea. Of course, this, I know Frank and Darren have been to this spot. I've been to this spot right here, this establishing shot of Haddonfield, where it says Haddonfield, Halloween. The area looks pretty much the same. I mean, the foliage is a bit thicker. This shot here on the right-hand side actually now is the Pasadena Public Library. It's not there when they're shooting this, but there's the Strode House. It's a different color today, and it's up for sale.
It's up for sale.
Don't forget to drop the key off at the Myers house.
I won't.
They're coming by to look at the house at 10:30. Be sure to leave it under the mat.
Promise.
I'm not there yet, but it's about to happen here. $5 from Frank. Thanks, buddy. He says, Nurse Marion, what did we give him? Loomis, Viagra. He'll have a massive erection in front of the judge. That's the idea. Oh my God, that's so funny.
What did we give him?
Viagra.
He'll have a massive erection in front of the judge.
That's the idea.
He says it so seriously.
That's the idea.
I don't get it. Why?
That's the idea. You're not supposed to get it, you damn bitch!
The car goes off the road, explodes and everything. It's like, what is going on? I've been all through here, by the way. If you know the geography, the Myers house, the Myers house is actually, anyway.
Lori! Hi, Tommy. You coming over tonight?
No. There's the palm trees in the distance. Good old Illinois palm trees, ladies and gentlemen. Da, 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 da. It's good stuff. Wayne Turner says, when they do another Halloween, I want my fellow Aussies and co-creators of Saw involved. James Wan and Lee Winnell. Imagine a Michael attacking like a malignant. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what Wan would do with a Halloween. There's the house. Stood there until about, I think it was 87 or 88. And then it was on the chopping block to be demolished. And then somebody saved it. But somebody saved it not because, as far as I know, somebody saved it not because of its ties to Halloween, but because it was an old home. Like it was from a certain time period. I believe that's the story. And then it was, or maybe they found out. Anyways, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost sure. Now, if you look at this shot here of Lori walking down the sidewalk, you see the street on the left-hand side there. And you can kind of see some traffic up there through the foliage and the trees. Where the Myers house sits now is right on, if you look to the far left where those cars are, just beyond those cars between those two trees, that's where the Myers house sits today. So she's technically walking towards the hardware store. That's where she's walking towards.
And Nick Castle just standing there like the... He's like,
I wish I had you all alone. Ow! Just the two of us.
Now you're telling me this guy right here was the guy behind it all? Dr. Wynn? He's the one that's behind it all? No. For God's sakes, he can't drive a car. Kind of had that, what is that accent called? It's not even a real accent. It was an accent that was in old Hollywood. Actors were trained. Transatlantic? It's a transatlantic accent. It's not a real accent. It's a way of speaking like this. It's like, well, my dear, I think maybe, well, if that's the way you're going to be, maybe that's the way it is. I think maybe... And used to hear that a lot in old Hollywood, especially. And it was, I believe it was known as the transatlantic accent. I might be wrong on that. It's something like that. And it's not a real accent. It was taught to performers and actors as a way to, sound higher class, if you will. Myers across the street. Again, we're seeing Myers mid-Atlantic. Thank you, Davey Det. Transatlantic. Mid-Atlantic. Mid-Atlantic? Is it mid-Atlantic? Yeah, you're probably right. Transatlantic. I knew it was something Atlantic. See, it's so great because, again, Myers is played as like that storm that's rolling on in, right? Every time we see Myers throughout the picture, he's at a distance. You know what I mean? He's here. He's behind the car on the other side. And look, it's a frame. It's almost a frame within a frame, right? Because you have the frame of the picture, you have the frame of the window, and you're looking through it. He's on the other side of the glass. He's on the other side of the blinds. He's on the other side of the car. So he's on the other side of the car. I said, no, for Christ's sake, Sam, he can't drive a car. He's on, yeah, so anyway. But, because he hasn't arrived yet. He's those clouds that are rolling on in. Boogeyman's coming. Oh, transatlantic is correct? Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Adam. Transatlantic is correct. Mid-Atlantic, transatlantic. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was transatlantic. There's good old Mickey Yablons, young, 11-year-old Mickey Yablons who runs into the shape. Themes playing. This is great. You know, like, again, I mean, these things are dated today because we've seen so much of this. It's a low-budget indie shoot. It was a low-budget indie shoot then. And so, you know, we've seen a lot of this now, right? You know what I mean? But at that time in 1978, man, watching this in the theater it's all relative, right? You know, without anything else to remember or to compare it to. I mean, it was a big deal. Now, it didn't start off strong, obviously. It got lambasted by a lot of critics early on. But it started, I believe it was the article or the review in the Village Voice, if I'm not mistaken, that really kind of started the trend to it take off. And it became, I mean, look, it became the highest grossing independent horror movie in history. I believe the highest grossing independent movie in history, if I'm not mistaken, until either Ninja Turtles in 90 or Blair Witch in 99. Actually, Ninja Turtles might have beat it in 90, but then it was still the highest grossing independent horror in history until Blair Witch. So it might have, yeah. It had 2 titles and then it only had 1 for the next 10 or something like that. I don't know, you know, now for Christ's sake, Sam, he can't drive a car. He can't drive a car. Thank you, Dr. Wynn. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to see what they are. You have to lay me off. I like his fucking car. I like his whip, as they say. Was that a BMW? I think it is. I think it's a BMW. Reese Wilson says, let's not forget that convenience store alarm has been ringing for hours now. Nobody in the vicinity gives a shit, though. No, that's because the entire town of Haddonfield are basically 80% of the population are people that over the age of 70, so nobody can hear it. That train, of course, was, you know, happenstance, happy accident. Again, this is low budget indie shoot. They weren't like, you know, calling, the rail lines. Hey, can you get a train to come by at 3:35? Yeah, thanks. No, it just happened. And they're like, oh, this is good. Ooh, the rabbit in red. Now pay close attention. Here is Freddie Mercury's cameo, ladies and gentlemen. Fred Mercury himself, the lead singer of Queen. There he is. Yes. Do you guys remember, if you followed me for any length of time, about 3 or 4 years ago, I had a screen grab of that, and I put it up on my social media, and I played it straight, like I was serious, that this was Freddie Mercury in the late 70s. He was friends with like somebody and he was there, and that's actually Freddie Mercury. So many people, not so many, but there was a good number of people that were like, are you serious? And then started sharing it. And I'm like, no, I'm joking. It's so funny. So it's funny. So Jamie Lee Curtis is actually, in this movie, she's actually, I think she's like 19 or 20. Nancy Loomis is actually 29, I think, in this movie. So she's actually like 30. PJ Souls, I think, is 26, 27, something like that. Something like that. Josh McKenna. Hey, Josh, what's going on, buddy? He sends in $9.99. Thank you. He says, Don't Fear the Reaper plays in both the 78 film and Ends. Do you like the song? I do like the song. Yes, I do. And obviously, as a Halloween fan, I cannot think of Halloween when I hear it, but I can also just enjoy it on its own merits, too, and associate it with other things. It's a good thing she's got a place for the shit. There he is. There's the man, see? But now he's getting closer, but there's still always a barricade and an obstacle between him and the girls, right? This time it's the car. It's the car. I think he's cute. Love it. Speed. Yeah, that's right. You tell him, Annie. The increase in pitch of the Halloween theme there. But yeah, it's a good moment, good scene. But again, it's that storm, right? He's always on the peripheral. He's following. He's at a distance. He's going to be by the hedge here in a second. But we never see him close up until the moment he lifts his head into frame and he's got the phone to his ear, right? That's when he's arrived. Because at that point, they're all dead. Bob is dead, Annie's dead, and Linda's dead. So now Laurie's the only one left. And that's, he's arrived. You know what I mean? Even when he kills Bob, we're close in the sense of, in terms of the framing of the shot. But it's kind of split lighting. We don't really see it too clearly. You know what I mean? When he kills Annie, we see his mask, but it's, again, we're separated between the frame of the camera and the frame, if you will, of the windshield or the side shield, the side window. The window's fogged up, so it's a little hazy because of the condensation and the breath and all that. And so there's still those obstacles between you and the shape. It's only after Linda is dead and he's killed all three, when he finally lifts his head up into frame, the storm has arrived in its full force. And now Laurie's the only one left, right? No, that's not the station wagon on the far left there. Some people are like, is that the... No, it's just another station. It's the 70s. There were a station wagon for every grain of sand on the beach. Great moment. Eerie as fuck. The famous hedge. Just a nice step in. That's it. That's right, behind the bush. Oh, come on, Annie. You saw something. Subtle, isn't he? I love this part.
Poor Laurie scared another one away.
Here it comes.
Wants to take you out tonight.
I love this. Of course, we saw John Carpenter's smoke there a few moments ago. Here it comes.
He was standing right there. Poor Laurie. Scared another one away.
Poor Laurie scared another one away.
Now look over the Annie's left shoulder, our right. You'll see a guy lift his head up. There he is. He's just one of the neighbors. One of the neighbors chilling, watching the movie being made. Well, home sweet home. Here comes Slimy Brackett, 39-year-old Brackett. Remember, Charles Cyphers is 39 here, ladies and gentlemen. He's 39. He looks about 59, but, whatever. That's a completely separate shot because the hedge is trimmed.
Excuse me, Laurie. That's all right. It's Halloween, and I'm not wearing any underwear.
I have a clip of me dubbing over that. You guys got to check it out. It's hilarious. Then he walks away. He's like, hey, Annie, how old is Laurie? If you haven't seen that clip that I posted a couple years ago, you probably won't find it. Just go watch it. It's funny. Amaducia sends in $5. Thanks, buddy. Says, happy Halloween, Dave. Hope you have a safe holiday. Same to you, folks. Same to you. Yeah. And if I don't end up coming on the channel on Halloween, the goal is to do that. But if I don't, for whatever reason, from what's happening, then yeah, happy Halloween to everybody. Hey, it's the Halloween season, spooky season. It's our time of year. Well, kiddo, I thought you stopped eating chocolate. What? I don't know what that means. Yep. Jamie Lee Curtis. It's cool to think that I've been there. I've been up those steps and onto the porch. It's cool. It's cool, man. It's cool. Geeked Out Turtle Fan 43 says Michael is in the buff under the jumpsuit. Oh yeah. And he's ripped. He's jacked. There it is. There's the shape amongst the laundry sheets. Laurie's looking, and then all of a sudden he's gone. She doesn't turn her head. He's just gone. Playing with those expectations, playing with the notion of, did she really see him? No, maybe she didn't see him. Some fans have think, no, he literally dematerialized. Nah, that's not what happened. That's not what I think is trying to be communicated to the audience here. He may not have even been standing there. There's a distinct possibility that he may not have been standing there, and seeing Michael across the street, seeing Michael in the car, seeing Michael by the hedge is weighing on her mind. And when she gets upstairs, she looks and she thinks she sees him, because she never turns her head. Now, again, I'm probably overthinking this, of course, but it's fun. Now you hear him seen chewing. You're losing it, Laurie, right? And then when she lays on the bed, first of all, is it just me, or does this bed look like it's way too short for her? Jamie Lee Curtis is a tall woman. She's like 5, what is she, 8, 9? This twin bed here looks way too short for her. And she says, calm down. This is ridiculous. So she's not convinced of what she saw. Just calm down. This is ridiculous. When she lays on that bed, she's saying, calm down. This is ridiculous, right? So she's, she doesn't believe in the boogeyman, right? Remember, Tommy, there's no such thing. And it's Halloween, right? It's when people play tricks on each other. So she's trying to convince herself that whoever I'm seeing is probably just somebody from the high school, maybe Ben Tramer, who knows, right? Just farting around, fucking around, calm down. And that's why it's so great, that moment when she's looking at him amongst the laundry sheets, and then she doesn't even turn her head and he's gone. Like, I love that. I love that Carpenter played with that supernatural element. Was he there? Was he not there? Did he dematerialize? We're never supposed to know the answer. That's the whole point, right? So yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. All right, did I get all? So make sure I got all the super chats. I believe I did. I think I did. Where's that?
Get in. We just have time.
La 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 la.
That's true. Yep. Brandon Collins has got it. She's an intelligent, rational honor student. She wouldn't believe in the supernatural. That's right. Here's the Charlie Bowles. Charlie Bowles is coming up. Block 20. Everything.
You know, every town has something like this happen.
Oh, really?
I remember over in Russellville,
About
Charlie
15.
Bowles, about 15 years ago. One night
There it is.
Finished dinner, and he excused himself from the table.
That's it right there.
He went out to the garage.
He grabbed himself a hacksaw.
A
hacksaw.
And then he went back into the house.
He kissed his wife and his 2 children goodbye. And then he proceeded to... Where are we? Yep, great. Telling you, there's so much we could do with it. And we talked about it on the member-only show here on the channel called One Good Scare. In our first episode, we broke down quite a few ideas of what we could do with a Charlie Bowles story. A tombstone was... I remember when I was a kid, at first I thought that was the grave plot. I was like, that's a small coffin. No, it's the headstone, Dave. Oh, right. The Oct sends in $4.99. Thanks, buddy. Says, at the end of this movie, they show Michael's face. But at the start of H2, they cut it and don't show it as much. Which version do you prefer? I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I mean, I don't think it's necessary to see his face. But at the same time, if you're only watching the first movie, I understand why they did that. Michael wanted to show that he had again, there was no desire to ever do a sequel, right? It is what it is. It was what it was. It was a one-off. So to show the face, the motivation to show the face was to simply show, and the reason why Tony Moran was cast, because at that time, Tony Moran was a very handsome guy. Chiseled, good jawline, just a very kind of soap opera, sexy kind of, guy. And so he wanted more of that angelic sort of, handsome face to be the contrast of what you would expect to be under the mask, right? That this monster is really kind of this handsome looking dude. And so I don't mind it, because it's properly motivated, right? If it was just for the sake of it, then no, you know what I mean? But there's intention behind it, and it makes sense, and I understand it. They cut it in two. I don't know why they cut it in two. It could have been just because maybe I don't know. I'd have to look into that. There's a couple reasons why maybe, but I could take either, really. It doesn't really bother me. Come on. Remember, Charles Cyphers is 39 here. He looks 59. Big G sends in €2, says, did Lori say it was the boogeyman? Yes, that's what Lori said. It was the boogeyman. It was the boogeyman. As a matter of fact, it was. Oh. Sheriff. Loomis. B bracket. Did he say B bracket or E bracket? B bracket? What's his first name? Bob? Bob Brackett. Barley. Barley Brackett. It's Barley Brackett. There goes the car. Now, the Myers house is right over Loomis's shoulder, his left shoulder now today. In that shot, when he's looking around like this, if you look over Loomis's left shoulder, that's where the Myers house sits in that open plot. That's where the Myers house sits today. The Violator 862 sends in $4.99, says, I see we're watching the Immortal Classic. Will this be followed by the big giveaway at 9? Oh, the big giveaway at 9. No, there will be no pumpkin witch skull masks going out to your children that you know of. You'd rather go out with Ben Tramer. Ben Tramer? I knew. So you do think about things like that, don't you, Laurie? Shut up. He's cute. Shh. It's so funny. There's the station wagon. There's the family truckster. Of course, there's a hard cut to black. Or not a hard cut to black, excuse me, a hard cut to the next shot, the next scene, and now it's nighttime. That's never really bothered me. I mean, the sun can set pretty quick at that time of year, especially if you're in the Midwest. It does indicate that they probably were driving for, at least another half hour after that moment, which is probably highly unlikely. But some people made fun of it, and I'm just like, yeah, I get it. Look, it's low budget indie filmmaking, man. I mean, we sometimes forget that this was, it's such an iconic film today, but its true roots are true low budget indie film. Like there was no studio, do you know what I mean? Like it really is, as grassroots as you could probably get at that time, or pretty close. The Wallace house obviously looks very different today. Lee, he says Lee. Oh, that's right, Lee Brackett. I knew that, Colin, or Brandon. That's right. I knew that. Yeah, Lee Brackett, named after the frequent Howard Hawks screenwriter who also wrote the first draft, The Empire Strikes Back. Yes. I knew that. Major brain fart. And you I knew that because I've talked about that, and I've made jokes about Lee Brackett being when he retired in the after these events, he moved to Hollywood and became a screenwriter and wrote The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, that's right, Lee Brackett. That's of course, like Sandy Johnson. Like, why am I having these brain farts? Maybe it's just because I'm getting older. Fuck. God damn, I'm fucking bio fuck. They may be right. I love that. Love that shot. Now, just the way the lighting is here and the way the house looks goes to show you how, and just the set deck and everything. Well, this is a real home, but goes to show you how well they did in Halloween Kills with the recreation of the flashback scene. The attention to detail, the set decoration, because that was a house that was built on a soundstage, right? Where this is a real home. Just tremendous attention to detail. Really, really well done. PJ, what's going on, PJ? Hey, PJ has upgraded his membership to level number 2. Peach, my man, PJ. Yes. Yes. Follow PJ's lead, ladies and gentlemen. Follow PJ's lead and join my membership and become a member here on the channel for exclusive access to shows and badges and emojis. And you can send in member-only chats. So your name is highlighted in green. You're not paying for it because you're paying for it through your membership, but it highlights like a super chat, but it's a member chat. So yeah, you get to do that too and all that. It's fun. I think we're closing in on 100 members, which would be great to get over that before the end of the year for sure. Thank you, PJ. Appreciate that. Yeah, like they did such a good job. Such a good job. I would have seen us standing on the lawn. You must think I'm... Lee Brackett just looks like he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Why are you here, you piece of crap? Why are you here? That's what it is. That's what it is. All right. Did I get all the super chats? I want to make sure I'm keeping up on it. I'm not missing it. I think I did. Here comes the speech. The only thing you need to know about Myers.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale,
emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
What do we do?
He's been here once tonight. I think he'll come back.
I'm gonna wait for him.
That's all you need to know. Like when it comes to Michael Myers, folks, that's literally all you need to know. That's all you need to know. That's it. We don't need to know anything more other than that. You know, to keep the mystique there, the mystery, all that. That must be preserved. That must remain intact. And that's hard to do in today's storytelling because we're so hyper, there's this hyper sort of need to know everything, to connect. And ambiguity is, you know, again, you can do ambiguity right and you can do ambiguity wrong. But yeah, like, fuck, man. It's why it works. That's all you need to know. It's reveling in the mystery and the mystique that is the lore. It's like a drug, you know? Neutron Man. Here it is. What's the boogeyman? Ooh, then she gets interrupted by the telephone. But that's what it's all about, right? You know, it's like, as much as I would love it to be, you know, it's like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster or ghosts or aliens. A lot of the fun of these topics is reveling and living within the mystery, within the unknown of it. And although I absolutely would choose to know, I mean, I do believe there's other life in the universe somewhere, but I'm just saying I would absolutely choose to know whether these things are true or not. I would, you know, yes. The knowing would definitely, you would lose a bit of that fun and a bit of that mystery. It's like knowing how a magic trick is done, right? Once you know how the illusion works, you know, you can still have fun, but you do lose something by knowing how how it works. And Michael Myers is built on the foundation of mystique, mystery, ambiguity, the enigma. Why did this little kid, why did that happen? I don't understand. Why? And the characters must always be on the cusp of knowing. They must always be on the like within the story, they're trying to figure it out. What's going on? Who is this guy? I don't know. Fuck, I'm bloody hell. I'm telling you right now. You know, that's fun to revel in that and to live with that and to sit with that and to let that sort of like bathe all over you. And that's great. But the second you remove that and you open the door and you go, this is why, then it's done. It's over. It's done. This is one of my favorite shots right here. Tommy looks, yes, right there. There is the shape. That's very Hitchcock. And we know that that is not Deborah Hill. That is indeed Nick Castle.
Laurie, the boogeyman's outside. Laurie, he's out there.
Tommy, what?
Look, Laurie, look.
Tommy, there's nobody outside.
But he was out there. The boogeyman was out there.
Go watch TV.
Oh, fuck, bitch. Listen to me.
One of my favorite shots. It's such a great shot. Such a great shot. Such a great shot. Big G, €2 says, why is Resurrection hated so much? Well, because it's not a very good movie. You know, I mean, it depends, right? I mean, if you love it and you like it, that's all that matters at the end of the day. But the general consensus is that, you know, when you think about the character of Michael, you think about how far we've come, it's just not, it's just, you know, I mean, if you just want a dumb movie to watch, sure, I guess it's kind of, you know, kills 90 minutes. But, it's just not, you know, you got Busta Rhymes in there. It's a little hokey. It's cheesy. It plays off the gimmick of reality television. So it dates itself that way. You know, it's not scary. It's just, you know, it's not what I want from a Halloween movie. So I would never put Busta Rhymes or Tyra Banks in a Halloween movie. And it's just hokey and silly, and in my opinion. But if you like it, that's all that matters. Nancy Loomis is the same in every movie. She always has this like attitude. Lester the dog has been killed. Lester the dog has been killed. Brandon Collins sends another $5. Thank you, Brandon. Says, you all know that's not Deborah Hill because Sean asked Tommy Lee Wallace my question. True story. You're welcome. Well, the funny thing is that that is true. That is true. But what's also fascinating about it is I was unaware that it stemmed from that documentary. And people just assumed that because of the way the documentary was edited, that because she had mentioned that she wore the costume at some point, during her saying that, you see that shot of Michael, among others, people just assume that, oh, that's what, you know, because in a lot of cases, when somebody is speaking and you do see images overlaid, they do correspond with what, you know, the interviewee is talking about, right? But in this case, it just so whoever was editing the documentary just so happened to choose that image to lay over when Deborah Hill was talking, and they mistakenly took that to mean, oh, that's Deborah Hill across the street. And I thought that too. I jumped onto the bandwagon and thought that too. I'm like, well, it could be. I mean, it's far away, forced perspective. I mean, maybe, you know, there's a little, you know, whatever. But no, in reality, it's not. And of course, it makes perfect sense. It's not. And Sean has seen, of course, the behind the scenes images from Billy Kirkus, who those shots that have not been released. And there's a bunch of images from that night shooting that scene. And he can confirm, it's Nick Castle. It's Nick Castle. So. Oh, I missed it. Hang on. I'm going to go back. Hang on, folks. I'm going to go back. I normally don't do this, but this is important. Okay, so I'm at the point here, 45. So pause wherever you are. Go back to about 44 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm at the point where Tommy's about to go,
Laurie, what's the boogeyman?
That's where I am here, okay? I'm at that part. Sorry about that. This is important for the overall sort of thing with the message of the movie and all that kind of stuff. Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right.
Jack-o'-lantern.
What about the boogeyman?
There it is.
There's no such thing.
Oh, sorry, it's what
Richie
about
said
the
he was
boogeyman?
coming after me tonight.
You believe everything Richie tells you?
No.
She says there's no such thing.
Tommy, Halloween night, it's when people play tricks on each other.
That's right.
It's all make-believe. I think Richie was just trying to scare you.
That's it.
I saw the boogeyman. I saw him outside.
I don't know, did you?
Nobody outside.
There's nobody
There
outside.
was.
What do he look like?
You boogeyman.
Man.
We're not getting anywhere. All right. The boogeyman can only come out on Halloween night, right?
Right.
Well, I'm here tonight. I'm not about to.
Now, again, that's not confirmation that she actually believes that. She's talking to an 8-year-old child, so she's just trying to let the kid know that, listen, you know, okay, all right, boogeyman is here, but I'm not going to let anything happen to you. And that's important. That's important to the end of the movie in this debate about Laurie saying, was it the boogeyman? No, it's that debate is over. And so anytime you see somebody mistakenly, say that it sounds like she says, was it the boogeyman? Or the subtitles say, well, the subtitles are wrong. Their subtitles can be wrong because somebody who put in the subtitles also thought it was that, and that's why it was programmed that way. But Laurie she has a complete arc in this film, and that complete arc is she goes from not believing in the boogeyman to believing in the boogeyman. So at the end of the movie, when she says, it was the boogeyman, she's basically saying, holy fuck, Tommy was right. It was the boogeyman. She's gone from not believing to believing. She doesn't have to ask anymore. She knows. That's her arc coming full. It's now complete. And Donald Pleasance just confirms and says, as a matter of fact, it was the boogeyman. It's like you saying to me, holy shit, it was $30 at the store. And I'm like, as a matter of fact, it was. You know what I'm saying? And so, so that's important to remember that she no longer needs to ask. She now knows. And that's vital. That's important to the completion of her arc. You know, it would be bad writing if by the end of the movie she's going, was that the boogeyman? What the fuck do you think, bitch? Of course it was the boogeyman, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, of course. And now we have her know. She's gone from not believing to knowing. And that's what it is. And it's in the script, and Jamie Lee Curtis has confirmed it and all that kind of stuff. So what you're really hearing is Laurie going, it was the boogeyman, you know? Was the boogeyman. It's just lost in the it is lost in the performance. That's all it is. It's like twas the night before Christmas. Twas the boogeyman. Was the boogeyman. That's why you hear the emphasis on was. When you listen, you actually hear was the boogeyman. Was, you know what I'm saying? So she's not asking a question, just so we all know. Love how she just hangs out. And that was John Carpenter's voice, of course, on the phone with little Kyle Richards.
Annie Paul called! I'm stuck! Can you come and help me?
What are you doing stuck in here, you damn son of a bitch?
That's right, Brandon. Yeah, very good point. That's right. Yeah. And since 18 is a direct sequel to the original only, you know, yeah, that's right. But yes, I completely understand why people think it's the other way, and it's been printed on T-shirts incorrectly. It's been, you know, typed into subtitles incorrectly. It's been written in books incorrectly. It's been shared. I get it. I totally get it. But that is actually what she says, is it was the boogeyman. She's basically saying, holy fuck, it was. She's not asking him. She's basically saying, shit, it was, you know, she's looking for confirmation. This is one of my favorite shots of, there's so many great shots, like the shot that we just had earlier with him looking through the doorway of the laundry room. It's so great, so iconic. This is one of the most iconic shots here. So well done. You know, when Annie walks over, there he is. Love it. Yeah, the blocking and hitting your marks. I wonder how many times they shot that. And back then, of course, I mean, when you're shooting on 35 millimeter film, I mean, film is expensive. And on a $300,000 shoot, you don't have time to be doing 5 or 6 takes on all shots, right? Like, you know, when you're shooting digital now, I mean, not that you should be taking all the time in the world either, because you have a schedule, but you don't have to worry necessarily about, footage of film and the cost of film. If you have enough hard drives and you have a good DIT department, then basically what you do is your second assistant camera, will unload the card from the ARRI or the RED or whatever. They take it to the DIT department. They'd offload it into a computer onto a hard drive and then wipe the card and take it back. You know what I mean? And then so you have all this free space all the time if you have a good department running. But you don't have to buy more cards, right? Whereas back in this time, you couldn't dump the film off and then use the same film, right? You had to keep buying more film and new film and have all these reels of film on hand. And so, yeah, back then, like you couldn't take like not on a $300,000 picture. On a $300,000, that's why Tommy Lee Wallace said this was a lean and like, so many people have said, are there like a lot of outtakes? Are there a lot of like deleted scenes? He's like, no, there's no fat on this. I mean, there's a few little things you haven't seen. Sure. Yes. But it was pretty lean and mean. There wasn't a lot of fat on this movie because there'd be no time to do that. Right. I mean, they didn't have time to shoot something, all right, let's just take 8 takes. No, you got to be on your game, on point. Oh, Kevin Wick says, missed my super chat, Dave. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. Let me go back and see if I can get it here. Kevin Wick sends in $1.99, says, did I miss Freddie Mercury? Oh, yes, you did. Yeah, no, we started, we're almost an hour into the movie. So yes, you did. Yes, you did, Kevin. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you. And then super chat from Big G, €2, says, stupid that Annie washed clothes, not her house. Stupid that Annie washed clothes. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's not her house. Well, I don't know. I mean, she spilled butter all over herself, right? So, she probably knows the Wallaces really well, and she's probably a regular babysitter. And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's probably not a big deal that she went out there to, wash her clothes. I mean, if this was her first time and she didn't know the Wallaces at all, yeah, getting like half naked and starting a whole load of laundry, but I mean, the Wallaces may have known Annie for years. Right? I mean, maybe the Wallaces have a daughter that's older than Lindsay. Maybe Lindsay has an older sister that's Annie's age. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Yeah, fuck. I'm missing it. Oh, Paul, I can no longer stall. Oh, Paul, no keys, but please, my Paul. Oh, Paul. She's just gone back into the house to get her pick or her comb. She's going to be standing at the mirror here in a second, fluffing her hair up. Oh, Paul. Oh, Paul. I can no longer stall. Sing it. Oh, Paul. I can no longer stall. Ow! She gets back into the car without unlocking it, which is like, and then, of course, all the windows are fogged up. And here comes Nick Castle, Michael Myers, and boom! There he is. Now, this is a great shot through the driver's side window looking at the shape. Now, again, this is one of the closest moments we've gotten to the shape, is that shot through the through the side window. But again, as you can see, we're obstructed by the car. We're obstructed by the condensation, the fog on the window. So it's still kind of hazy and blurry, right? The storm is almost there. The storm is almost here. We're starting to see it, right? The thunder, the lightning, the clouds. It's getting closer and closer and closer. It's almost here, but not quite. It's a pretty good look, but we're not getting a full look without any sort of, obstacle in the way. And of course, great theater of the mind there. You just kind of hear a slash and the musical sting, and she just goes, ah. I mean, very 70s, obviously. You couldn't necessarily get away with that today, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Frank Riker, the Wallaces were expecting an orgy at their house anyway. That's true. Yeah. That's true. A thing from another world. This is another one of my favorite moments here when Tommy goes behind the curtain and is like, Lindsay, kind of sounds like he's a little constipated. And then, of course, he looks out the window and sees Michael Myers carrying Annie. It's such an amazing shot. Such an amazing shot. Because what's so great about this shot is it's eerie. Like, yes, it is Halloween night, and maybe this is, but it's eerie because either this couple is doing something kinky and sexy, or there's something serious going on. Because who would this be doing it for, right? When you think about it, if they're fucking around, who would they be doing it for? There's no audience out there watching them, right? So seeing this from a distance, there's that emotional disconnect. When you look at them, you're like, what's going on? Like, who are they? Is this some kind of role play that's going on? Some kinky Halloween sex? And I know that's funny to think about, but I mean that, right? Because if it's not that, then what is going on here? Because who's their audience? It's not like there's a bunch of kids standing around watching this Halloween show, right? So it's really eerie just seeing him carry her into the house. Oh, I've always loved it. Very eerie and ominous.
There's nobody out there, Tommy.
It's true. You're going to have to go to bed. Get the fuck out of here. Go to bed. I love this. I believe you, Tommy. And Laurie's like, why the fuck do I bother? Basically, that's what that is. Why the fuck do I bother? It's totally true. All right. Have I missed any super chats? I don't believe I have. I don't think so. The last one was from Big G. Again, we're doing a watch along, so feel free to send in your super chats throughout. And that way, there's less to get to at the end. Oh, where is the movie? There we go. Oh, here's Dr. Loomis.
Go in, Lonnie.
Yeah, go in, Lonnie, you fucking piece of shit. He says that.
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
It's about to happen. Here it is.
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
I love it. He's got such a grin on his face. He's smiling. He's happy about it. He's proud of himself. This is a good speech here that Loomis has as well. I watched him for 15 years, sitting in a room, staring at a wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall, waiting for this night, or inhumanly patient, waiting for, I forget what comes. Sitting in a room, staring at a wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall, looking at this night. Death has come to your little town, Sheriff. Yeah.
The wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall, looking at this night, inhumanly patient.
Inhumanly patient, that's where it comes. Death.
Waiting for some secret,
Waiting for some secret silent alarm to trigger him off. Death has come to your little town, Sheriff. You can help me to, and you can ignore it or help me to stop it. That's right. Yeah. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. And it is fancy talk. Bracket's right. It is fancy talk, but it's all you need to know. Like it's painting this picture of this weird individual. And again, this is a man of science. Dr. Loomis is a professional psychiatrist. He's not supposed to believe in the woo-woo and the supernatural, right? That's what makes his character so compelling. And that's why I don't think we should go back and do a, listen, I'll be the first to watch, but why I don't think we should go back and do a Loomis story, because I've always believed that Loomis's career as a psychiatrist was pretty normal, was pretty pedestrian up until Michael Myers. It's Michael Myers that makes him question. It's Michael Myers that makes him, talk like this and like, holy fuck, I spent 8 years trying to reach him, right? So basically what he's saying there is I spent 8 years trying to reach him. I spent 8 years as a man of science. And then I spent another 7 years trying to keep him locked up because I realized what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil. So you have 8 years of a man who's committed to science and 7 years of a man who's struggling between the two. And that's what's so fascinating. So by the time we meet him, he's already 7 years into this. He's already like, no, you listen, I watched it 15 years sitting here, staring at the wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall, looking at this. Inhumanly bad death has come to your little township. If you don't do anything about it, I'm just like, he's fucking locked in. He's loaded. He's ready to go. He's committed. Loomis is committed to it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's so fascinating about it. Anyways, we just went past the moment here where Bob was like, tear your clothes off, and then I tear Lindsay's clothes off. Well, this is it.
Let's nod and start banging on the couch.
That's what that's all about. Ba-da-da-ba. I love this shot too. And I remember, if you're old enough to remember watching this movie in a 4:3 aspect ratio on VHS on your televisions, there was so much, because this was shot in anamorphic. I mean, there were so many things that we couldn't see. Like, I remember when that would pull out, because I believe that's on a dolly on some track, and we're pulling out. You never saw Myers on the VHS version watching this in the 80s or even the 90s. You never saw Myers as, the shoulder of Myers in that shot. At least I don't think you did, because it was cut off. So I remember when I watched the widescreen version of this, which was released for like the 20th anniversary, I remember seeing so much I'd never seen before. And I was like, holy fuck. It was really cool. Yeah, watch the rest of the movie, you bastards. Watch the rest of the movie. That's a good point, Bobby. Yeah, I like what Bobby Hall says there. Think about that. Loomis blew away Myers at the end without even knowing if he had killed anyone yet. That's actually a good point if you think about it, right? Because Loomis doesn't know that Linda's dead. Loomis doesn't know that Bob's dead. Loomis doesn't know that Annie's dead, right? I mean, he might suspect that whoever the Phelps garage guy was probably dead. So maybe he has but your point still stands. He's committed to this. And that would be hard for a man of science, because he's probably looked down upon by a lot of his peers. Here's where PJ Souls trips over the dolly track. Right there. Oh. Again, I don't think she hit the track. I think she probably stepped over the track and her heel buckled, which is probably what happened. Which is what I think would happen. Maybe not. But it's fine, because it looks like she's just tipsy and drunk, so it works. Totally works. Here they are. Rocking it. Yes. The sex scene. Then we see Michael loitering here in a second. We see his shadow. Michael's oh yeah, not yet. He's got to answer the phone first. I've got to answer it. What if it's the Wallace? No, she's like, what if it's the Wallaces? We're going to get Annie in trouble, you know. That's true. What if it is the Wallaces? We don't know. We have no idea. We have no idea. Chester Franklin Jr. says, was Bob's van the one that was in Halloween 2 when Ben Tramer gets rammed by the patrol cop and killed in the van? I don't think so, no. I've never thought that. I think it's just another van. Here's Myers. Here he comes. You can see his shadow on the wall. He's a voyeur. He likes this kind of stuff. He's kinky. He'd get into it if it would be socially acceptable. If they would have him in on it, he would join. He would join. Joe Hahn says, Loomis blowing Michael away without knowing that he's killed anybody. It's still in defense of another person. He was actively strangling Laurie when Loomis came up upon him. That's true, but he didn't have to slug 6 more shots into him afterwards, right? It's the use of force, right? That was because even a police officer would be like, get away from her, get away from the woman, you know what I'm saying, right? A police officer isn't necessarily going to come upon that and shoot necessarily, right? Or they might shoot at the leg, or whatever the case is. It really is about, Loomis is convinced. Because he's saying things like, death has come to your little town. Death has come to your little town, right? So it's all in the language. It's properly motivated. It's all in the language. It's all there. It's all there. It's crazy. Tony Spagali sends in $2, says, Linda died thinking Bob killed her. That's true. That's a good point too. Yep. How would that feel? Linda died thinking Bob killed her. We're at the kitchen scene here. So again, the storm is almost upon us. Almost upon us. The storm is almost upon us. Linda, you asshole. It's going to happen here in a second. All right. Come on out. See, you'll hear a after he says, Linda, you asshole.
Linda, you asshole.
See? That's how well I know that. It's sick. It's sick. Come on out. There he is. There he is. The storm is almost here. Now, again, we're close with them, but look at the lighting. Look at the split lighting. We're going to see his mask. There's the mask. But look, we don't really see his mask. We see a little bit of his mask, a little bit of light coming from the moon, quote unquote, on the right side of his mask, your left. There's the knife comes up. We kind of see his face a little bit, but again, it's not full on. We're not seeing everything yet in full force. Not until after he kills Linda. And that's that solidification. That's that moment that, bitch, the storm has arrived. Your friends are dead. I am the man. And of course, I love that the knife has its own light. We have like a little light shining onto the knife. I love it. That's the world's strongest butcher knife right there. The world's strongest butcher knife.
Cute, Bob. Real cute. See anything you like?
Tony Michael of Two Dudes took a great photo of this, recreated this image. I hope he shares it this Halloween because it's really good. He did a really good job in his own way, but it's really good.
See anything you like? What's the matter? Can't I get your ghost, Bob?
Michael's not into it. And you think he would have been because, this sort of, PJ Souls, Sandy Johnson, they kind of have a similar look to them. It's too bad he's not. No, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. Well, can't you answer me? Fine, then don't answer me. Harry Hagen, my man, says, Dave, when Lori enters Lindsay's kitchen, there's no rake. When she's running from Myers, there's a rake. So either Myers was actually outside or it's messed up. Maybe Myers was raking the leaves outside. I don't know. It's always possible. There's the Shape Stocks. The very first time I think we ever hear the Shape Stocks theme is right here. And there it is. Okay. Now I get your famous squealing. I love it. So now her three friends are dead. And here it comes. I'm going to turn this up because you'll hear the ding, ding. Or the boom, boom.
Are you fooling around again?
Here it is. This is it. We are an hour and 8 minutes into the movie. 68 minutes into the movie. There it is. Full on. No obstruction. No condensation. No frame within a frame. Nothing. There is now, it's still a little bit of split lighting, to be fair. A little bit. But that's the first time we get a really good look at the Myers mask. The storm has arrived. Your friends are dead. You are my bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm coming for you now, even though you come over to my place. But anyway, but that's so awesome. 68 minutes into the movie, 68 minutes out of a 90-minute movie, 68 minutes out of a 90-minute movie, do we finally see the Myers mask with any real clarity, right? Like really close up without any obstruction of any sort. Amazing. Amazing. It's awesome stuff. Sleep tight, kids. Back to the Myers house. Of course, this is where Loomis is going to notice the car. Joe Hahn says, God, the Shape Stocks is such an amazingly tense track. I love the clang, 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 clang part, if that makes any sense. Oh, yeah, we know what you're talking about. Dun, 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 dun. Ding, 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 ding. It's amazing. It's iconic. Not as iconic as the Halloween theme, but, the Halloween theme is universally iconic. It's just so incredible. Yeah, I much prefer it without the kick drum, the beat. Nah, you don't need it. Get it out of there. It's not a rock. It's not a song. It's a score. Get it out. I love the little leaves that are blowing by. See, it's easier to. Yeah, I love that. That helps. That does. There's a great shot coming up soon. It's when Nick Castle is walking across the street. Laurie's like, the keys. You know what I mean? And it's this one shot where the leaves just go by his face, split lighting on Cat, the shade. Oh, it's fucking great. It's great. So many great shots in this film. She's getting the keys. She's going to go across the street. And of course, the interior of this house is not the same as the exterior, because you notice that she's entering from the right. So she actually should be on the other side of the door on the porch here, but she's not. It's because they're two different locations, all in the same street, by the way. The interiors of both the Wallace house and the Doyle house were other houses on this street, and they chose to just use the exteriors of the Wallace house and the Doyle house for these two homes. Dog barking in the distance. Yeah. WJC says Paul dodged one hell of a bullet not getting picked up that night. It's true. It's true if you think about it. Paul's thanking his lucky stars. I absolutely agree with WJC on that. That's true. Yeah. I mean, let's not forget that very early on, John Carpenter showed this without the music. I think it was out the music. Now, listen, to be fair, you show any movie without, especially a horror movie, you show a horror movie without any music, it's going to be hard to really imagine and get scared. But when this music was put in place, I mean, this is, and it's not just the Halloween theme. I mean, it's the Shape Stocks, it's Laurie's theme, it's the Myers house theme. The whole soundtrack is terrific. Now, obviously the track that has crossed the threshold into the zeitgeist is the Halloween theme itself. But the entire score is brilliant, is fantastic. And, it's just so great. That's one powerful moon, man. Look at that shadow. Hey. Indie filmmaking. It's a little hot. I would have probably either pulled the light back, although maybe not. I mean, it's really dark out there. They probably couldn't have done that. She's walking up. She's walking. Yes, indeed, she's walking. Bob? Huh? Bob? Huh? It's like Scooby-Doo. Oh yeah, she hears. I like this though. I like how there's you're building it. We know that he's in there. Like we know what's going on, right? We're put in the same, we are put in the same position as or we're not put in the same position as Laurie. Laurie doesn't know what's going on. She thinks that, it's her friends playing tricks on her. Frank Riker sends in $5. Thank you, Frank, and says, I got a better ending. What if, while Michael was strangling Laurie, Loomis jumps on his back trying to kill him with piano wire, yelling, play me a tune. Play me a tune! Play me! What are you doing, you damn doctor? Play me! Oh, no, what are you doing, you damn doctor? Play me a tune! I think the Dr. Loomis from Halloween 4 would have done that. The Dr. Loomis from Halloween 4 definitely would have done that. That's not being funny. I'll cut it out. Oh, I love that track too. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Or it's boom, boom, boom. No. Yeah. Boom, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. There's 3 in there. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. That's a great track. I think on the soundtrack, I think it's known as the Myers House. I think. So great. And the lighting here is fantastic. You know, like I love that it feels, again, you know, low budget indie shoot. You know, but this really, I like allowing her to go into the darkness. We lose her and we just see her shadow. We did that on It's Me, Billy, Chapter 1. It was a conscious creative choice on our part. If you've seen the film, It's Me, Billy, Chapter 1, during our oneer when Sam walks, you know, down the hall and down the stairs, and you know, you lose her into the shadows. Like the darkness is rich in the shadows and it's deep, and you lose her, and then she comes into the light again, and then you lose her again. And I like that. It's claustrophobic. It feels real. It doesn't feel, you know, I don't want you to see her at every given moment at any time. You know what I mean? I want to play with that light and shadow, and you lose her for a moment and then you pick her up again. You know, I love that. And it was very similar here. Very cool. Anyway, we're at the moment now where Laurie has discovered Annie on the bed. Bob! Oh, there's Bob! Oh my God, I didn't see that coming. Oh my God. Oh, I didn't see that coming. And the closet or the door opens and there's Linda. Oh my God, there she is, stuck in the closet or the whatever that is, cabinet. And here comes, a lot of people love this moment. Right here, a lot of people love this moment. Where are we here? We're an hour and 16 minutes, 30 seconds into the movie. Here it is. Dean Cundy turning up the dimmer. And there's Michael's face. Oh, yeah. There it is. So iconic. People would have screamed bloody murder in the theater seeing this in 1978. It's too bad I was born just 1 year later. And now, I love this right here where you see kind of his face when he walks in. And I love this moment. There he is, the top of the stairs. This is one of my favorite shots in the movie. Doesn't get talked about enough. It's back there. Of course, you see it right there. But this shot, how he's coming down and you see the light. There's light through the rungs of the stairs. And you see the light with the rungs, with the shadow of the rungs on his mask as he's coming down the stairs. Fucking love that shot. Doesn't get talked about it enough. Love it. Just fantastic. Really great. And of course, this is Tommy Lee Wallace who's busting the door. Now, after Michael's busted the door and he steps around the corner and looks, I don't know if that's Nick Castle or if it's Tommy Lee Wallace. This is Tommy Lee Wallace busting the door and opening it. Whether this is Tommy Lee Wallace, this might be Tommy Lee Wallace. He looks a little taller there. That might be him. That might be Tommy Lee Wallace. That right there might be Tommy Lee Wallace. It might not be either, but it could be. See, these are questions that I wish people would ask at conventions. Ask that question. Hey, we know you busted the door, but when you come around the corner and you start approaching, is that you? Chances are they probably don't even fucking remember either. We sweaty nerds are all like, Some people have said, you know, why did these neighbors not help her? She's yelling, she's screaming, help me, please. I've always sort of equated it to the fact, well, even Brackett has said that, you know, there's people there's people playing pranks. There's a lot of mischief going on. He didn't use these words, but he alluded to that. Like there's shit, you know what I mean? So I equate it to they probably just thought that she was farting around. She was fucking around. And they're like, I don't know what's going on. I don't have anything to do with this. You know what I mean? And so they just turned off the light. They think it's like a Halloween prank. That's what I've always thought. The keys! The keys! She's banging on the door. I love this shot. All of this with the shape walking across the street. It's so great. Watch this right here. I'll let you know my favorite moment is. Not there. That looks good, though. I'll let you know my favorite moment where it is. It's like an hour, 19 minutes, and like 15 seconds in. Right there. Right there. You see the leaves falling behind him as he's walking across. It's split lighting. You just see one side of his face. Yes, that's what I would have loved to have gone back to in Halloween 2018. And then, listen, just a matter of a different, creative choice. I love the idea of seeing through the back of the windshield and seeing Michael put on the mask, closing the trunk, and he's standing there. I just wish it was at night. I wish it looked like that shot. Maybe there's like a lamppost there, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe they have to actually put a practical there of some, or not a practical, but some sort of, light there. Perhaps the lamppost would be practical, but I just mean that like maybe there's like, a situation where, that takes place at night. We just see one, like it's split lighting, and he closes the trunk, and oh yeah, now that's the Michael we remember, baby. That's the Michael. I would have loved to have seen that, but hey, that's me. Getting all fired up here. I'm getting all fired up. Michael's just crashed to the ground now. He's gotten the knitting needle into the neck. Laurie's going to drop the knife here on the ground in a moment. That's the way it is. Bantam 360 says, have you heard Trent Reznor's rendition of the Halloween theme? It's pretty phenomenal cover. I have heard it. Yeah, I thought it was all right. That was pretty good. It's pretty good. Yep. I haven't heard it in a while, but I do know the one you're talking about. I haven't missed any super chats, right? I don't think so. Usually people, oh wait, there's Frank. No, I got the Frank one. Okay, I got the Frank one. I just want to make sure. I haven't missed anything. And this moment right here is the last moment we're going to see Charles Cyphers until Halloween Kills. If you don't include Halloween 2, which Halloween 2 is not canon in the new trilogy, I know there's that moment in Halloween Ends. I think it's Halloween Ends when they flash back to Annie on the stretcher and her. I know that, but that wasn't telling us that Halloween 2 is canon. They were just using that image because Annie did die, and that scene, that moment would have happened between the two of them, whether Halloween 2 is canon or not. So they just took creative license and thought, well, you know what? Let's just take that scene from Halloween 2 and show that moment in Halloween Ends to help illustrate our, what we're trying to illustrate. It's not communicating that 2 is actually canon. But that moment right there, I found him. He's 3 wolves down. You go around the house, I'll go around the front. All right. That's it. The next time we see Brackett, he's a security guard in Haddonfield Memorial. This is my favorite moment in the movie. This is it right here. I gotta turn this up.
Man, I'm scared.
There's nothing to be scared of.
Are you sure?
See, now on widescreen, you see him walking up. On VHS, back in the day, you never did.
You can't kill the boogeyman.
You can't kill the boogeyman. Rack focus. Boom! Yes! 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 Look at that shot! Look at that shot, baby! Look at the way the light hits. It's the deep black eye, the way he said, look at that there. He's just walking up. He's coming into the light a little bit. It's a low angle shot, giving him some power, commanding presence. He is the shape. He is the boogeyman. We see Laurie tying the thing around the thing. Look at that. We're low angle as he's approaching. We just tilt up. That's all we're doing. And then he exits frame. Oh, it's great. Fucking great. It's so great. I fucking love that shot. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. When I met Nick Castle in 2015 at Fan Expo here in Toronto, that's the photo I got him to sign. He signed it to Dave, the voice man, Nick Castle, the shape. It was great. It was great. He's such a sweetheart of a guy. But I love that shot. That moment is so great. This, of course, is Tommy Lee Wallace, as we know. Tommy Lee Wallace is the one that breaks the closet and peers in and looks down at Laurie. It's an iconic shot. I mean, Michael Myers looking down at Laurie from, from the broken closet door is an iconic shot of Michael Myers. It's iconic. And it ain't Nick Castle. It's Tommy Lee Wallace. I mean, most of the iconic shots in the movie are Nick Castle. I'm just saying that's one in particular that is iconic that you see shared and, all the time that isn't. This whole thing here is Tommy Lee Wallace. You can hear him breathing. A little bit of the grunting. Ooh. Right into the eye. She takes the butcher knife right into the abdomen, like right into the abdomen, I think somewhere in there. Yeah, he's holding like right here, so just below the rib cage perhaps. And he just falls, just here. imagine experiencing this in the movie theater in 1978. Or 79, because I think it was even playing in the theaters in 79. I don't think it actually took off till 79, funny enough. Now we're back to Nick Castle, of course, lying on the ground. I can only imagine when she throws the knife away again here, people would be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Brandon, 3/4 Miss Doyle's clothes must be at the cleaners. It's true. It's true.
Tommy, lock the door. I killed him.
I want you to listen to me. Now, at the beginning of Halloween 2, they either reshot this scene, which I don't think they did. They probably used an alternate take. Laurie here just says, now, do you understand me? Now, do as I say. And that's all she says. At the recap at the beginning of Halloween 2, it's very similar, but she says, now, do you understand me? Now, do as I say. And then she goes, go. There's a go at the beginning of Halloween 2's recap where there isn't one here. Amazing. The famous sit up and turn. It's so great, so iconic. They don't rack focus to Michael in the distance. I think that's perfect because you could have done that. You could have racked focus to make Michael in. They didn't do that. They left. It's a soft focus anyway. I mean, it's not like he's blurry. It's a soft focus, but they didn't rack focus, and that's just great. Such a great moment. The sit up. It's so iconic. So iconic. And there he is, standing up now, approaching. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And there it is. Now the question becomes, is this Tony Moran? Or is Tony Moran just the face reveal? Because if Tony Moran is doing the struggle, well, then he's got more than 3 seconds of screen time. There's the face. And there's putting it back on. And that's it. Now that's like maybe 7 or 8 seconds. But if Tony Moran actually did the strangling as well, Tony Moran might have about 30 seconds here. Got to give credit where credit's due. There's Jim Wilburn, the stunt double who recently passed, I think. And there's Michael lying on the ground. Dr. Loomis is not taking any chances. Okay, now listen. Here we go. Listen.
What's the boogeyman?
Was the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
As a matter of fact, it was.
There you go. It was the boogeyman. It was the boogeyman.
As a matter of fact, it was.
And scene. Basically. Oh, there he is. He's gone, baby. And Loomis is like, whoa. And there's so much, there's so many layers there, right? Is he gone? Was he ever really there? Was he ever really there? So great. And that's what this movie was. It was a 90-minute Hitchcockian little ghost story that never meant to have any sequels. It is what it is. Oh. Wait a minute. Oh, are we back? Are we back? I think we're back. Are we back? I want to make sure we're back. We are, I think we're back. Yeah, we're back, right? Are we back? Yeah, we are back. Okay, we're back. Whew, we're back, baby. We're back, baby. We're back. We're back. Right at the end there. Hang on, let me turn it off. I got the credits still rolling here. Of course, there's a mistake in the credits, which it says Michael Myers, age 23, and that's incorrect. It's 21. It's 21. It should be 21. And what's so funny to me is that they make that mistake in Halloween. They make the same mistake 3 years later at the end credits of Halloween 2. Michael Myers, age 23. I'm like, oh, maybe they just felt they needed to keep it consistent. I don't know. But he was 21. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the original Halloween from 1978, the immortal classic, my favorite horror movie of all time. My favorite horror movie of all time, the original Halloween, has been my favorite horror movie of all time since I was probably 5 years old. So that's going back 39 years. I'm 39 years? Yeah, I'm 44. So I think that's about right. So just really awesome. And I thought it was fun to watch and, hang out and kind of, just watch the original. Because again, I am planning on going live Halloween night with Tony, but it's not 100% because this week could be pretty crazy. So I wanted to get something in that's Halloween related. And so I thought, why not do something like this? All right, let's jump over to the chat room for a little bit and we'll take some questions and we'll hang out for a little bit. All right, so let me just see. I don't want to miss any super chats. Super chat comes in from Kevin Kruger. Kevin Kruger sends in $1.99. Thank you, Kevin. Says, Dave, when is the epic stream? Oh yeah, no, there is no epic stream because we did not reach our target goal. So for those of you that don't know, yeah, I was hoping to do an epic Halloween stream yesterday, where I was going to watch Halloween 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And was it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. Yeah, 5. And then maybe have like a bonus one, maybe not, have some guests on, some giveaways, all that kind of stuff. But the incentive was obviously to help contribute to the Indiegogo campaign of It's Me Billy Chapter 2. It is in demand right now, but we would love to raise more money for contingency and all that kind of stuff. And I had given 3 different ways to do it and had put it out there and we raised a little bit, but some people, but we just didn't raise it. We didn't come close. So unfortunately, I have to abide by the rules. I can't just do it anyway, because then what's the point of having an incentive, right? If you tell you say to somebody, hey, listen, I want you to clean your room and then you can have pizza. Well, if you're going to give them pizza anyway, if they don't clean their room, then what the hell's the point, right? No, unfortunately, we did not reach our goal. Now, that doesn't mean that if we don't reach, we can still do it. I mean, the Indiegogo campaign is in demand. So if we sell off the last associate producer perk and we get the Blu-rays from, I think we're at like 205, 210 of the double blue, right? Where it's where you get It's Me Billy Chapter 1 and 2 together. If we get those to like 300, which is only like another 90 or something like that, and sell the last associate producer perk, I'll do the epic stream at some point. Like that. Oh, sure. It obviously won't be for Halloween because obviously, Halloween's pretty much over. But the offer still stands. It's just I need to, and maybe we'll do it. Like now that Halloween's almost over and we're rolling into November and the Christmas season is going to be upon us and It's Me Billy is going to be, obviously we're on the cusp of shooting Chapter 2 and, and there's going to be some momentum with that and more traffic. You know what I'm saying? Maybe people will get more into the Christmas spirit and you know what I'm saying, right? So there's still time. But no, we did not come anywhere close to meeting our goal for me to do it yesterday. So that's why there is no epic Halloween stream. Bob Jones sends in $5. Thank you, Bob, and says, David Gordon Green said he rewrote Halloween Ends when Kill's release was delayed a year. Do you think we'll ever know what his original idea was for Halloween Ends? I don't know if he specifically said he rewrote it. I'd have to go back and watch the interviews. My understanding is that they took another look at it. Look, if there ever was an original script in a draft, and we don't know if there was, then no, I don't think we will. My understanding is that there was early talks of having Halloween 18 Kills and Ends all take place the same night, and but there wasn't anything set in stone for Halloween Ends or the third part to take place on the same night. So it is my understanding that there was never a draft or a screenplay that was written where Halloween Ends was a completely different story without Corey Cunningham that took place the same night. That may have been an idea. They may have tossed around those ideas, but ultimately decided to move 4 years into the future. That's my understanding of it. So whether that's true or not, or how much truth there is to that, who knows? But will we know? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. All right. Let me make sure I'm getting all the super chats. I am. Okay. Good. Just want to make sure getting all these super chats. Let me scroll back here. Michael Poor says, I never really noticed until recently that Nick Castle had his left eye closed as he was walking towards Jamie Lee Curtis. Laurie, I just never paid attention to it. Left eye closed. I don't understand when he was when in what movie? Because you never see his eyes through the mask in this film. So, I mean, unless. Oh, no, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. You're talking, okay, wait, hang on. Before you begin typing, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about when Laurie is leaning against the doorway and the shape is coming up behind her. And when he gets close, there's a little, you see a little bit of his eye. Yeah. I'll have to go back again and pay attention to that. But, his left eye is his left eye. Well, yeah, his fucked up eye. His left eye might be closed. It might be. Yeah, I have to take another look. All right, we'll go. We'll chat for a moment here. We'll chat for a moment. You know what? Let's take this thing to 9 o'clock. That's another 10 minutes. We'll take this thing to 9 o'clock, 10 minutes. That's a good time to call it. Let me see here. Scroll back. Just trying to get some people I haven't got yet. People I've never seen before. Even Heathcock says, in my opinion, I think the fact that we see him coming up the stairs nowadays makes it more effective. Hearing Laurie tell the kids he's dead while simultaneously seeing him coming up is awesome to me. Yeah, no, hey, look, it could totally work. Yeah, for sure. It's just for a certain, for a lot of us, we never saw that. You know, if you grew up through the 1980s and the 90s watching Halloween on VHS on a 4x3 television, you never saw it. It was just because it was cropped out. And so they just, there's something to be said where you don't see it, you don't hear it, you kind of heard something, but you don't really see anything. And then they just rack focus and he's right there. There's something to be said for that, but it works both ways. Yeah. It's not that much of a difference in terms of, the end result, really, at the end of the day. Got that. Okay, let me scroll. I got that. Let me scroll back down. Frank Riker says, I never noticed Nick Castle looked like Tony Moran when the mask was pulled off. Oh yeah. I mean, Nick Castle was sexy back in the day. I mean, he was a sexy man, so he was a sexy man. Very, very, very sexy man. Yeah, Brandon's right. It was a hell of a jump scare on VHS. It was. That is true. Chester Franklin Jr. says, Dave, I love the Halloween theme in the soundtrack when it was released in 1983. Also, the version in the movie got me a lot of chills every time when I watched the movie on AMC. Happy Halloween, my man. Well, happy Halloween to you too, Chester. I know you're a big, Halloween horror movie on AMC guy. You've been watching all these horror movies all October on AMC. I don't have cable anymore, so I don't get AMC. But I don't know, unless they have like a streaming version. Maybe they have a streaming version. Nonetheless, I do know when I had cable and I had AMC, yeah, this time of year, they played all that. They play Halloween 1, they play Halloween 2. They usually play Halloween 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Maybe they play them all now. I don't know. Listen, I remember, and if you're old enough to remember this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I remember it was extraordinarily difficult to get Halloween 1 on VHS. You could rent it from the video store. That was no problem. But I mean like buying it. finding Halloween 1 to purchase on VHS was next to impossible in the 80s. Next to impossible. And then Blockbuster came out. Remember this? In 92 or 93, Blockbuster came out with the Blockbuster video package of Halloween, which I have. And then all of a sudden, from that moment forward, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't difficult anymore. But it was very difficult at that time. And I also remember, too, that whenever Halloween would play on TV, it was never Halloween 1. Now, again, I'm not saying that nowhere did Halloween ever play on TV in the 80s. I'm just saying, at least where I was, and from people I've talked to, yeah, it was always Halloween 2 that would play. It was never Halloween 1, or whatever the case is. And it was a difficult film to track down for a period of time there. Josh McKenna sends in $9.99. Thank you, Josh, and says, "But Dave, did you take your vacation to Hawaii yet? And are you keeping the rack out of the cough?" Yes, that's right. Yes, no, I have not taken my vacation to Hawaii. What Josh is referring to is that on the I got a I guess one of my hate mail videos, one of my DMs, somebody had said during the Indiegogo campaign for Billy Chapter 1, we raised $64,000 Canadian, about $48,000 US. And somebody was trying to accuse myself and Bruce of just stealing that money and taking a trip to Hawaii or something. It's just so stupid. People have the IQ of a donut. There's a lot of stupid people out there, folks. There's a lot of stupid people out there. And if you're offended by that, well, then maybe you're one of them. I'm just saying. Anyway, but if you're not stupid, then if you're not stupid, you would just agree with me. You'd be like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. If you're offended by that, you're like, well, then maybe you got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, maybe I'm one of those people. But anyway, yeah, and the rack out of the cough. Yeah, I received not so much anymore, but at one time, like 2017, 2018, 2019, I received some pretty doozies, some pretty doozies. Jonathan Clancy sends in €5. Thanks, Jonathan, and says, "Now for God's sake, Carpenter couldn't write in 5/4 time, Sam. He was doing very well last night." Yeah, he was. I just did that in the Loomis voice. It's more of the transatlantic accent. Now for God's sakes, Carpenter. Let me try that again. Now for God's sakes, Carpenter couldn't write in 5/4 time, Sam. He was doing very well last night. That's exactly right. Now for Sam, for God's sakes, he can't drive a car. Whenever you watch older movies, there was a time where, and there were lessons, like people would take lessons to learn how to speak like that. It was a certain level of social status, essentially. So when you watch like older films and you'll hear like men and women, there's a bit of that like, well, hello, yes, well, I think maybe you might be right. Well, and it's like, well, it kind of sounds British, but it's not. Like you'll hear somebody say, well, I think you might be right. So instead of saying right, it's more right. It's kind of has a British-ish thing, but it's not British at all. Like it's not English. But what is that? It's a weird sort of, and you hear it, and it's very. It was used to portray a certain level of social status. It's like, well, I think you. Come on in, my dear. Yes, hello. Sit down. You hear that. In a lot of American films with American actors, it's not anymore, but certainly back in the day, like the 40s and the 50s, you'd hear that like, well, if that's the way you want, my dear, and people would learn how to talk like that. It's known as the transatlantic accent. And it's not a real accent. It doesn't come from anywhere. It's not like you're born and you talk like that. It was actors back in the day specifically took classes to learn how to speak like that. Because back during the day of the studio systems, right, a lot of these when actors were hired specifically to a studio, right? So like back in the 40s or 50s, you would sign a contract and you were a contract player for Universal. So all you did were movies for Universal. You didn't do movies for Universal and Warner Brothers and No, not at all. You were a contract player for Universal. And if you were green and you were new, but you showed some talent, they would pay for your classes. They would try to sort of, mold you and bring you up and some of those You might have to go to acting classes. You might have to go to dialect classes. You know what I mean? Depending on how they wanted to shape you and what kind of performer they wanted you to be. Maybe you were handsome and they saw you as the next Clark Gable. Like, this person could be the next Clark Gable. So they would try to steer you and mold you in that direction and that kind of stuff. That studio system, I think that went away. I think it was the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, late 60s, early 70s. I think that, began to part, but it was a fascinating time. And yeah, so the transatlantic accent was a big sort of, hello, what's going on? Well, for Christ's sake, Sam, he was doing very well last night. No, that was Loomis. I'm getting my doctors mixed up. Now, for Christ's sake, Sam, he can't drive a car. It's like, why is he saying car? Hello, car. It's just, yeah, it's a little bit of that transatlantic accent, Anyway, PJ, what's going on? PJ sends in a super chat, $6.99. Thank you, PJ. Really appreciate that. Says, could a reboot bring back a link to Samhain and the eternal nature of evil without the Cult of Thorn crap? Always like Curtis's prologue in the novel. I think so. Yes, I do. The trick is that if you're going to reboot Halloween, then you have to make the decision of, are we going to... And listen, I am in agreement that, look, you can't just continue to do the same thing over and over again. I mean, you can, and we'll all be there to watch it. But at the end of the day, what is there to be done with Halloween that hasn't already been done? And so, the only thing is that, again, you run the risk of demystifying it, right? Because although, Samhain and the Celtic rituals and, all that kind of stuff is in the book, the novelization of Halloween. And we learn a bit about that in Halloween 2 from Loomis's speeches throughout, the movie. Nowhere do you get any sense of that when watching the original Halloween. And so because the book was written after the fact, and as you know, PJ, not all the time, the book was expanded upon, the author, in the book, Michael Myers' mask, he's got blue eyeshadow and pink lipstick. It's a very different, and so the original Halloween, the movie we just watched here tonight, translated just take the movie Halloween and put that in a book. Not that interesting. Do you know what I mean? And so, to make it the novel more interesting, the author went deeper and into the sort of building this backstory and using the notes from John Carpenter and ideas and maybe where what could have come from and put his own thoughts into it. So he built this backstory, but it demystifies Michael because now we know sort of what's going on. We know a bit about where it's coming from. And if you're okay with that, and I say you, the collective if you're okay with that, then okay. Right? You know what I mean? And maybe it would work. Now, that doesn't mean you have to demystify everything. You can still keep mystery there. But if you introduce Samhain and sort of, a link to maybe, the nature of evil and Celtic rituals, and you didn't bring up that, but the minute you start to introduce that, you introduce potentially motive and potentially the reason why he's doing everything. And so I think Michael works best where we just don't know why. You can have the characters in the movie thinking about this, maybe bringing that up and talking about it, but it's never really known why. It's just theories, it's just ideas, potentialities, we don't really know why. I would stray away from hard truths in Michael of being why he's the way he is. Just specific hard truths. Like hard truths being, well, we know why Jason does what he does. He was what do they call him? Whatever he was. And he was, right? And kids were making fun of him and the counselors weren't paying attention. He drowned. And why does Jason come back to kill? Well, he comes back to avenge his mother's death. So the story goes that Jason was watching from the lake that night and saw his mother's head cut off and got pissed off and professed to protect the camp and not let anybody ever come on and murder everybody who ever stepped onto the campground. That's a hard truth. We know that. That's the backstory. We know that. Freddy Krueger, hard truth. He was a child murderer, obviously child molester, murderer. I mean, that's a whole other video, but I'm just saying, right? We know Krueger's backstory. We know why he was doing not necessarily why, but we know his backstory, right? He's not just a dream demon that just haunts people's dreams. Oh, he's a child murderer. Oh, Nancy's mom was and they were the parents that burned him. And we know all that. Michael, we know nothing. We just know that he sat in a room for 15 years, staring at a wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall, looking at this night, and being inhumanly patient. There was a 6-year-old child, blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, devil's eyes. That's it. Like, there's nothing, there's no reason, there's no backstory, there's no reason for why he's the way he is. He's just pure evil, right? And so that's the foundation for what Michael Myers is built on. So he's very different. So if you want to reinvent Michael Myers and inject a bit of a backstory and build it out, I'm actually okay with that because it's not connected to the original timeline, right? You are reimagining the story. So if you want to reimagine the story, and listen, we need to set a bit of a foundation here, or we're going to find ourselves right back where we started after 2 movies, because there's not enough. And I truly believe that the original Michael Myers, in its original form, in its original inception, has a shelf life. And that shelf life may be 1 movie, because it's the second movie that we introduced motive, and he's the brother and all that kind of stuff. And Carpenter knew that. That's why he didn't want to do a sequel. He's like, why am I, there's no reason to, God, now I got to create this whole story now, right? To justify why we're continuing on. And so, it really, like the original incarnation, the movie we just watched tonight, the original inception of Michael Myers, really, it works best in 1 movie, maybe 2, and it has a shelf life. But if you want to just forego that, reimagine Michael, keep the DNA there, right? You want to keep fans happy. You keep, the DNA there, but reimagine him and give him a backstory where he's not connected to the original timeline. I'd be open to it, because at this point, what are we just going to watch the same thing over and over again? Well, they will. I'll be there too. All right, let me see here. We're past 9 o'clock, but that's okay. That's all right. Keith Davis sends in $9.99 and just sends in $9.99. Thank you, Keith. Really appreciate that. And the Ox sends in $4.99 and says, is Michael a metaphor symbol of death? It takes its time because eventually death catches up with everyone. Death is sort of a force of nature, right? That's a great way to look at it. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I like the way you're thinking. Absolutely. There's many, because there's no certainty, because there's the foundation of Michael is built on ambiguity and the enigma and the mystique and the unknown. There's a few ways to interpret it, right? All around this idea of death and evil. And I mean, it's all connected, right? It's all connected. So absolutely, I think that's a great way to interpret it. I think it's a great way to look at it for sure, right? How I often use the metaphor, and I did today, where he's that storm, where when Michael's introduced, we see Michael across the street behind the car. We see him, at the hedge. We see him in Mr. Riddle's backyard, but he's always at a distance. And in a lot of cases, it's a frame within a frame. So we have the frame of the movie. We have the frame of the window, right? When she's looking across the street. When Laurie is looking out the window, we have the frame of the movie. We have the frame of the window, right? So there's always an object. There's always something that is in between us and Michael. And in the case of the first time we see him across the street, I mean, you have Laurie's in the school, then you have the glass on the window, then you have the car, then you have Michael. So like, there's always this, he's at a distance. There's a bit of security. There's a bit of safety there, right? He's always at a distance, but if you notice, he's getting closer. He's across the street. He's at a certain distance. Then when he drives by them, he's a bit closer. Then when he's at the hedge, he's a bit closer. Then he was in Mr. Riddle's backyard, he's a bit closer. Even if that closer is like inches, right? He's a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. So it's that storm on the horizon that you see when you wake up on a nice summer day and you look outside and you're just like, you know what? I think we're going to get rain later. It's a beautiful day. Sun's out, birds are chirping. It's a nice temperature, but you look at the horizon, you can see dark clouds. We've all seen it. We've all been there, right? So you know that, at probably about 4 o'clock tonight, we're going to get a storm. And sure enough, sometimes it doesn't happen, but often it does, where the clouds roll in, things get darker, the sun goes away, starts to rain, right? All that kind of stuff. And that's, you know, in my mind, that's kind of how I see Michael in the original Halloween. He's that storm that's coming, right? And then, of course, when it gets darker, he starts killing people. And then after he kills Linda, he lifts his head up into frame. And that's the first time. That close-up is the first time that we see Michael with the mask, with true clarity, without any obstruction. And any obstruction being split lighting or a pane of glass or, you know, a pane of glass and condensation or the school or the hedge or, you know, whatever the case is, right? We are like this now. This is a close-up. We're like this now, and he lifts his head up into frame, and it's like, now there's still a little bit of split lighting, but we've seen him, but it's like 80% dark on one side, and we're seeing most of his face. And that's the first time. And to me, that's when he's arrived. He is here now, you know, and it's like, it's great. Yeah. So there's so many ways. And you're right, you know, to be like a metaphor for death. Death is coming for us all. Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it, for sure. For sure. Great way to look at it. Okay. Have I got all the super chats? Let me see. I just want to make sure I am not missing anything at all. I don't believe I have. The Oct and Keith and PJ and Jonathan and Clancy. Yes, it looks like I've got all the super chats. Okay, good. Just want to make sure. All right. There we go. Scroll down here. Bobby All says, Dave, do you think Laurie believed Hawkins in Kills when he said Michael didn't care about her? She had no reaction when he said that, and it isn't mentioned at all in Ends. Well, that's a great question. So this is my assessment of that. Do I think she believed him? Obviously, again, to your point, Bobby, it was never addressed in Ends, so we don't know. But I'm going to say in that moment, no. Probably not. Because Laurie has spent, now again, we have to think of the timeline that Kills is in. So it's 78, 18 and Kills. Laurie has spent her whole life obsessing, it's part of her identity. Michael Myers is part of Laurie's identity. It is her. She's the crazy lady that lives on the edge of town that's Michael Myers obsessed. She's been spending her whole life waiting for this moment. She's got her house decked out with traps and all this kind of stuff. She is the crazy cat lady. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? Like it's her whole life. It's her identity. It's ruined her relationships. It's put strain on her, on her, with her daughter and her granddaughter. She probably can't hold a job. If she does, it's not for too long. It's her identity. For 40 years, it's her identity. She thought it was personal for 40 years. Think about that. Put yourself in that, in that space. It's very hard. When Hawkins says it was never about you, Laurie, that is a catastrophic moment for her. Because without Michael Myers, who is Laurie Strode? Without Michael Myers, she is nobody. At this moment in her life, she's 60 years old. Who is she? To realize that it was never about her and Michael doesn't care about her, I thought was a terrific story point, an excellent thing to bring in. It's too bad that it wasn't nurtured and developed further and maybe made more of the crux of the foundation of the narrative through all three films about a woman who has to come to terms that it was never about her to begin with. That's interesting to me, and seeing that arc come to play. And you're right, it was just sort of abandoned. But that's what it's about. And that identity is incredibly important to her. Who is she without Michael Myers? And even though Michael wasn't there, she's been thinking about this for 40 years. It's who she is. And Hawkins had just said it was never about you. So in that moment, I think she was looking at him dumbfounded, shocked, and didn't know how to take it. And it's too bad that was not expanded on and being able to. Now, we sort of see that, to be fair, that she's moved on and it's 4 years later. But because we don't see the 4 years in between, we just sort of jump to Laurie now moving on with her life. And it's like, I think we need to see a bit of this. I think it should have been a thread. It's great. It's great for character development, I think. But anyway. Yeah, great question, Bobby. All right, folks, listen, that is going to do it for me here on episode 233 of McRae Live. Thanks to my great moderators, of course, Frank Riker, Tabitha Shore, Darren Sands, Chris Baber, Cody Snyder, and Andrew Stevens. Thank you for doing what you all do. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you to PJ for becoming, for moving up a level in the membership. Really appreciate that. Thank you to all the super chat questions that came in today as well. Really appreciate that. And thank you for joining me to watch the original Halloween from 1978, my favorite horror movie of all time, likely maybe even your favorite horror movie of all time, or maybe your favorite Halloween movie of all time, who knows. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I will let you know, of course, the plan is to do a stream with Tony Michael, another episode of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit on Halloween night. I can't guarantee that's going to happen because I don't know how this week is going to play out, but nonetheless, I will keep you posted as well. So thank you for joining me, folks. Really appreciate your time. You are amazing, everyone. And yeah, I will talk to you all soon. Alrighty. In the meantime and in between time, cheers.